Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's market update here in Austin, Texas. I am really excited today because I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Mark Koretsky, and it is January. And Mark, things are flying in Austin. It is incredible how active the market really is.
It's good to see for all of us that rely on real estate. I know a lot of title reps are really happy to see some contracts coming through. I know a lot of lenders taking big size of relief. And I know at the end of the day, a lot of the buyers and sellers that are being served right now, they've needed to be served, right? And so I think it's a win-win for all of us.
Absolutely. When I look at what was going on sort of in December and I look at where we are in January, here's the scoop, folks. We had 1,000 homes that went under contract in the last week in Austin, Texas alone. We've got about 8,100 homes that are currently for sale, which is a nice, strong number versus where we were last year at this time. And we had 450 homes that actually were sold last week, which is great news because that means homes that were purchased late at the end of last year are closing, and those are strong numbers.
They are, and not only in Austin, but in the DFW and nationwide, we're seeing the inventory actually retracing, right? Like we are expecting the inventory to come as we do normally see cyclically throughout the year leading into really the summer, right? Because school and kids really drive real estate at the end of the day. And so we're underneath 1 million units in inventory, coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast. We have less than 1 million already. And
wow.
So that is outside of 2021, that's really the lowest it's ever been, right? There are more licensed real estate agents. There are more than 1 million licensed real estate agents than there are units of inventory. And so the tsunami of inventory that a lot of the doom and gloom bearcats were calling for, it's not coming. We're not seeing it.
Real estate is always a lagging indicator, as we know from an economic standpoint. All right, Mark. So what is incredible is that, I love tracking numbers. And what I'm looking at is flat story so far for the first 3 weeks of January in Austin, Texas. So what that looks like is 44% of homes for sale fall under $500,000. 26% of all homes for sale are between the 500 and 750. So 1 in 4 homes basically is like right in that sweet spot. We then turn around and we look at 750 to $1 million is again flat right at 11%. And then it just keeps going from there. Then like million to 2 million has just basically sat right around 8.7, 8.9%. And then when we go 2 million and above, again, we just stay exactly where we've been sequentially. It's really phenomenal to see how Austin is like, for all of the news and doom and gloom, when we look at, even though our prices are down overall, we're still like the pockets in themselves remain the same for people to go out and be able to shop. So I think that's a really cool story.
I think for a lot of home buyers that didn't buy in 2020, 2021, 2022, it's a good thing to see things stay stable and stay level, right? Like whenever anything goes in one direction or the other, we all as consumers, we tend to kind of pause and kind of put our defenses up, right? And so we are seeing a softening, but again, real estate and prices and values, they're all relative, right? And so if we're comparing what we're looking at right now relative to us comparing what we were looking at back in 2018, it's night and day difference, right? And so we're expecting us to continue to stay soft. And there it kind of varies. You brought it up earlier. We're going to look at Travis. We're going to look at Williamson. We're going to look at Hayes. And you'll be a little bit surprised to see which one of those actually is showing a positive forecast in this 1 year forecast that we've got looking at.
All right. So if you're tuning in, what are your thoughts? What do you think of the 3 counties that we have in and around Austin, Hayes, Williamson, and Travis? Which county is going to show a positive versus the other 2, which clearly Mark's already given away, are going to show either flat or negative? Comment below. We'd love to hear from you. All right. So looking at the real estate report card, Mark, I'm really excited to see which of the counties has a positive and which of the other two has a negative. So with that said, if you are not from Austin, Texas, here's a couple of things you need to know. We are built of 3 different counties. So in the north, we've got Hayes County and Williamson County, and how that breaks out, just so you know, if you're in Hayes County, you're like Kyle, Hutto, Round Rock, Buda, Liberty Hill, Leander, Wimberley, Dripping Springs, and Driftwood, and a couple of others smaller. And if you're in Williamson, you're still north of the city. We're looking at Round Rock, Georgetown, Jarrell, Brushy Creek, Thrall, and Serenata. And if you're in Travis County, we're talking Austin proper, Pflugerville, Lakeway, Lago Vista. We're talking Bee Cave, Hudson Bend, Valente, Hornsby, Weberville, Manor, and a couple others. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're going to break down today. And with that said, Mark, take it away. Let's take a look at the real estate report card for Travis County first.
You brought up the 500 and below price point. You brought up the 500 to the 750 being a key price point. The median home price that we're looking at right now is right under 600,000. So 585,906. You can see already in the screen, we've got the historical appreciation looking backwards. And so you can see that over the last 63 years, it's averaged out at 4% a year, right? Like that is normal in Texas and specifically Travis County. It's really over the last 10 years that it jumped up to 8% a year. And really over the last 5 years that it jumped up to over 10% per year. And so because of that inflation that we had in Travis County, over the next year, we're forecasting that it actually comes down the median home price by 0.45%, which if you really think about it, it's basically the same price, right? If the price right now is 585,906, after a year of going down at less than 1%, you're still at the 583,265, right? And so we see a really conservative forecast, but realistic forecast being made of 5.85% total over the next 5 years. And so the traditional thinking that anybody would have is, oh, why would I get into real estate at 1% appreciation per year, right? And really, there's a lot of reasons why you would. Never mind the tax incentives that you may have when you buy it. But if you buy it right now at 585,906 with potentially less competition than you would at that 583,265, you're still going to be looking at, I mean, over 40 grand in just home appreciation that you would gain over a really short 5 years. So why is that? And it's because the fundamentals and the demographics of not just Travis County, but Texas in general is really, really strong. So I know you're seeing a lot of numbers, but I'm just going to walk you through it. Inventory, pretty simple, right? There's 3 homes for sale for every 1,000 people.
That is a low number. There are 3 homes for sale for every 1,000 people we have in Austin proper or Travis County. Think about that. Do you really think we're ever going to be in a place where we have a buyer's market, like a full buyer's market, meaning we've got months and months and months of inventory and it's not moving? I can tell you, it, even with, you know, some announcements of some companies having layoffs and other companies going full steam ahead, it's not possible based on our demographics to get into that space. We may have a leverage position for buyers. However, we will still technically be in a seller's market forever, which is really where we've always been.
You're absolutely right. And so that 3 homes for sale for every 1,000 people, that seems really, really low right now. That's actually up 123% as of last year. It's also up 4% from the previous month.
Wow.
And so why is that? And it's because our demographics, as you just brought up, are some of the strongest in the country. And it's because a majority of Travis County is the 27 to 35-year-old. So over 264,000, almost 265,000 people in Travis County alone are 27 to 35. what does that mean? The 27 to 35 is really, that is the new demand that you're seeing in the market. That's somebody that's moving out from renting, whether with their family or by themselves, and they're buying a house, right? This is
Yep.
new demand, and it's not somebody that's more often than not, any demand, any new inventory that we get to the market, it's somebody
Hmm.
that is traditionally selling so that they can buy, right? These are
Yep.
new buyers that are not selling anything. They're not bringing any new inventory to market. And so over the next 5 years, we're expecting 25,000 household formations per year. Of that, if just 54% of them are going to be purchasing a home for the first time, that's almost 15,000 a year in inventory that's needed just simply for the first time home buyers. Now, here's the thing with Austin and Travis County in general, you guys are building like crazy. And right
Yep.
now, you're actually building more than the current demand requires. Why are you doing that? It's because you need the inventory to really bring home ownership and home affordability more in line with where you specifically need it, just for really affordability's sake, right? Why am I saying that? We have this affordability index, okay? The affordability index basically says if you're at 100, then the median home buyer with the median household income can afford to purchase the median home with 20% down.
Okay.
The higher the number is, the more affordable it is. The lower the number it is, the less affordable it is. And so you can see from 2018, affordability had been coming down. It actually jumped up because of the pandemic. And then
Yep.
ever since the Fed hikes went through, you can see affordability has actually gone down then. And so that's part of the reason why we need these builders to actually continue building in Travis County, because we really don't want to let these median home prices go completely out of control. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Absolutely. So when we are talking about building in Travis County, for like the big builders and where things are happening, if you're tuning in, we're talking about Lakeway, we're talking about Manor, we're talking about Lago, we're talking about Bee Cave. Like that's where we're seeing really all these amazing new developments happening en masse. Where we're not seeing that kind of thing happening is Austin proper. However, that said, we are getting more and more condos in Austin, which means our density is increasing, which quite frankly, for our very, our town is young in that sense. So it's really cool to see that we are adding infrastructure for the downtown core, because a healthy downtown core is a healthy rest of the state usually, because Austin is our capital, and without our capital being strong with building, and without our capital being strong for jobs, then we have questions. But right now we're looking really good. So thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah. So let's take a look at Williamson now.
All right,
And
let's
so
take a look at Williamson.
now, you broke down the different towns earlier, but what I can tell the viewer is Williamson County, it's a much smaller county than Travis County, right?
Yes.
And so all of the same things that go along with that come along with living in Williamson County. You've got relatively more affordable median home price, right? Down
Mm-hmm.
below 500,000. You've got the same thing that you're seeing with the historical appreciation, around 4%, around 8%, and then it really jumps up over the last 5 years to over 10%. And you can also see the same thing going on with just basically remaining flat over the next year. But then you
Mm-hmm.
can also see the difference, right? Over the next 5 years, we're actually expecting it to go up 6.36%, which if we compare that with Travis County at 5.85, you're going to see that Williamson County is not only more affordable today, but it's actually projected to outpace appreciation percentage wise Travis County. You can also see that with the relatively low forecasted appreciation rates over
Mm-hmm.
5 years, that's a measly 30 grand that somebody is getting just in appreciation sake, right? And so we're also seeing that while the demographics are very different, the amount of inventory really isn't all that different. It's actually down month over month as opposed to Travis County. But year over year, there's a lot more inventory than there was for home buyers purchasing this time last year. You can also see the household formations and the first-time home buyers and the actual homes being built. And you can see that we in Williamson County also have currently a surplus of homes that are being built. Again, not a bad thing in a growing market. You can also see the same thing going on with the affordability index, right? It's creeping down. It's coming from a higher place than Travis County because it was more affordable, but it's still seeing the same thing where it's becoming less affordable, right? It is, I guess, important since I'm looking at it, median household income is relatively higher than Travis County. So that's pretty interesting to see, right? So I don't want to go too quickly, but this leaves us just one county, right? And we said there was one county that's going to out appreciate the others, and that is Hays. And so what's going on in Hays? Let's take a look. So Hays County, starting off the most affordable median home price, the lowest one out of the three. You're going to see very similar historical appreciation, but now you're going to see an actual positive forecast over the next year. It's not much, but anything above zero is greater than anything below zero. Over the next 5 years, you're also seeing it's at 7.11%. And so that's, again, using these numbers and the forecast, that's 30 grand that somebody is looking at and just median home price appreciation, just based off of conservative estimates. You're going to see, again, very low inventory, the same thing we've had throughout the counties. The demographics and the total population is going to be much different, right? But look at this 18 to 26-year-olds, right? That's the biggest segment in Hays County. That's 49,000 of the 255,000 total population. And so why is Hays County looking up, and why is it expected to out appreciate the others? It's because this is the future demand, right? This is the current demand, everything from here to here, but this is the future. And so you're going to see that home values are going to continue to go up over time, right?
Yeah.
You're also going to see the same thing going on with affordability. Now, just because affordability has come down as much as it has, this mean that Travis County, Williamson, Hays County aren't affordable? No, because again, the median home price is affordable at the median home household income with 20% down at 100. And so in all three counties, we do remain above the 100, which for a lot of markets, both in Texas and across the country, there's not many household or many counties that you actually have a reading of at 100, never mind above 100. And so for short term, it's conservative, but for the long term, it's a really good investment to be looking at both the greater Austin area and really all over Texas.
I love that. So, I mean, that is, Mark, that's such a great breakdown of our three main counties here in Austin, Texas, because it really does encompass everything that that we live each and every day. So I love that. And so
it's a big area.
It's a Austin is big. If depending on where you're coming from, if you're coming from California, you're used to being on the PCH, or you're coming from somewhere else. I mean, this is a driving city as well. And, we don't have snow and we don't have snow plows, but we definitely have roads, and we're continuously building infrastructure. We've got the train system that is being slowly built over time to get people, from north to south. Our airport is growing by leaps and bounds. And whenever, people are talking about relocating here, they're constantly asking me, where are we relative to the airport? Where are we relative to the downtown core? And I'm finding more and more people now still have the ability to work from home, or especially in the tech, with all the tech people that I talk with, continuing to move in the north direction, unless they're non-C-suite. And then they're talking about moving south and driving on the highway. And again, we're building so many houses now. It's the builders cannot keep up with demand. It's not possible. They can't do it. I mean, I've been sitting at a number of builder sites of recent, and it is mind blowing how many people are walking in and looking at what the opportunity is to build homes right now from scratch, from the big box builders. I'm talking to a few quality folks that are out there, and it's incredible. Like, they cannot keep up with demand.
It's a good thing to see, and for the builders, I know builder sentiment has come down, but then more recently, I have a feeling it's going to be coming up. We've had a lot of deflationary signs and news and articles that are not articles, but headline reports really that have come out that continue to signal that the worst of inflation is in our rear view. And so the more signs and continuation of that we see, the lower interest rates are going to come down. The lower interest rates come down, the more buyers are going to jump back into the market. And a lot of buyers, it is their dream to build from the ground up. And it's a big undertaking, but I totally understand that dream. And I think it's everybody's right to go out and chase it, right?
Yeah. Well, I love the dream, and there is so much value right now in starting with a home builder and either buying something that they're currently building, where you still may get to pick out your finishes, or starting from scratch, finding the lot that works best for you and what your needs are, and then determining what the plan is that builder can build on that lot. It's incredible. We call it semi-custom, and the reality is the customization is phenomenal. You are choosing your finishes, you are choosing, your wall color. It you are, and a lot of times, getting to choose the color of your brick and the paint on the outside. There's any number of things that can be happening if you're looking at new home construction with some of these bigger builders. Like, you've got Sitterly, you've got Highland Homes, you've got Perry, and you've got Scott Felder. Those are like our top builders in most of these master planned communities. And I'm talking with them consistently. I know what's happening for inventory. I know what's happening in some of the conversations that are happening. And it is, again, they're doing their best to keep up with these client demands for bigger homes, for build times. There is still, if you're looking at this, there is still lag time because of things being stuck in an ocean, not always arriving as quickly as they once did. And so we're seeing build times vary depending on the size of your house. It could be for anywhere from 8 months to like 16 months, depending on, again, all of the things that are happening from the time you write your contract. So if you are thinking about moving to Austin, Texas, and you are looking at a semi-custom home, hit me up, because there's a lot that goes on with it. And there are a lot of nuances and opportunities that exist. But here's what doesn't exist. You cannot walk into a new home builder and ask them for December prices in January. It doesn't work. That's not how the business is run. So if you are thinking about that, there are other opportunities that I can help you with, but there's not a builder in sight that is going to give you December prices. Period. Full stop.
And if you're like me and you just got some major anxiety from all the different moving parts and pieces of new construction, and you stick to resale, by all means, call us as well. This
Absolutely.
isn't, we're not just here for new construction, right? Like, there is so many different options, and there's the
Oh my
right
gosh.
option for everybody. But for me, having to decide on all of the different ins and outs and finishes and upgrades, that just sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yes, it's definitely not for the faint at heart, and it's not for everyone. And there is a lot of leadership. People don't realize that what like actually happens on my side of the equation while I'm helping you as a buyer move through the process and understanding all of the check marks as you go through the different phases. It's a lot more than most people come to realize. And there's a lot to be said for purchasing a resale home. Like I said, we've got about 8,700 of them right now on market in Austin, which is awesome. And people have choices, which is great. And, for buyers right now, there are negotiation opportunities, as you know, Mark. And what's happening with rates this week?
They've come up a little bit to start the week. We're a little bit over 6 right now. I really hope I'm not jinxing this, but right now we're range bound. We're right at that, like between 5.75 and 6.25. We haven't
Okay.
dropped really for too long below the 6%, but I really just hope we're evening out in this range, and
Mhm.
we're never going to go up or down in a straight line. So I think the most recent days increase, and I think Friday wasn't the best day in the market, but I think with the reports coming out today and the ones that we're expecting over the next couple of weeks, we hope to really remain in this range.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to ride it. Buyer sentiment has definitely leveled off in terms of understanding affordability right now. And if we're staying in these ranges, which are a lot back to the norms that we had before, then this is a great time to get pre-qualified to know what your pocket is and on affordability, because really at the end of the day, people aren't buying rates, they're buying a monthly amount that they're writing their check for the privilege of really living their dream and being in their own home.
You're absolutely right. And I had, I think, three different couples reach out to me this past weekend about getting themselves ready, whether in late June, I've got one in October, and then one looking like right at the end of the year. And all three of
Mhm.
them have the same question: are we too early? And no, the answer is you're never too early, because we can give you the information and meet you where you're at to really make sure that whenever you're ready and you need to be, that you will be, right? And so I think it's important to note, if you're looking at buying real estate and you need financing, you don't want to start looking at the financing after you need it, right? You want to have the horse before the cart, and that horse is the financing in the transaction. So get that figured out early and often, and make sure that you're well prepared for when the right time comes.
Absolutely, and as your realtor, obviously, I can't take you shopping if we don't know what is realistic for you so that you're affording your house and you're affording your life and you're affording, your retirement plan and all of the things. So I always work to get my clients, as you know, Mark, pre-approved well ahead of time. We take them all the way through so that all we're doing at the end of the day is waiting to identify that property that we can then go out and buy for them. So
The last thing you want is a false start or a misfire when you're buying the most expensive thing that you've ever bought. So highly recommend it.
yeah, absolutely. All right. So, Mark, with that said, it was really fun going over numbers. If you've watched this far and you have any questions about numbers, we would love to answer them. Just comment below in our YouTube channel, and Mark and I are here to answer any questions that you may have. And all the counties are different, and within those counties are the cities, and within those cities are the neighborhoods, and within those neighborhoods, there are streets. And so that is where I come in and I really get into the pure joy of like, what can we buy for you and your money? And that's the exciting stuff. So you need to talk to someone like Mark first so that I can then go out and really go out and hit, singles, doubles, and home runs for you, because we already have you pre-approved.
I've got nothing more to add on top of that.
All right. Well, my name is Jennifer Goodman. I'm a realtor here in Austin, Texas. And you, sir?
Mark Kretzky, Movement Mortgage here in the DFW, but coming to you in Austin.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.